Command. Command. This is Medical Officer DuFresne. I've arrived at Freelancer Program Simulation Outpost 17.
Like Reconstruction, Revelation was a landmark season of the show. Where Reconstruction reached new heights in storytelling and machinima, Revelation blew the lid off in technical achievement, and would redefine the show from being purely machinima to an actual production. This is also the first season to have an original score by Geoff Williams, who would compose for RVB for several seasons before heading up music for Ruby. As for the story, well, with a title like Revelation, how could this possibly top the Churches and Alphas plot? Let's find out. We open back at Valhalla, a short while after the conclusion of Recreation, after Wash gunned down Donut. I'm not crying. Just have something in my eye. Doc reappears for the first time since Blood Gulch, responding to the distress call sent by Simmons, while under coercion from Wash and the Meta. Back at Sandtrap, the cast is recovering from the climactic battle of the Recreation finale, while Church is getting a bit of a swelled head from being worshipped by the surviving aliens. Or swelled body, since all he is right now is a head.
But first, I'd like you all to join me in a song in honor of me. I am the best.
But he's also seeing mirage-like visions of Tex? Now this is a pretty big deal. Remember, we've not seen or heard from Tex since she went missing. While not explicitly stated as of yet, the fact that she shares the same ghost-like properties as Alpha Church means that the revelation that Church is actually an AI also extends to her. And if you freeze frame when the meta shows up with all of the AI at the end of Reconstruction, you can see that Tex is indeed one of them, meaning that she's also dead. At Valhalla, we learn that Wash needed a medic to run a checkup on the meta, who's begun to suffer unspecified side effects of using his jacked up suit without AI assistance. Sarge tries to call and check up with Simmons, who can't tell him the truth with Wash hearing, leading to either Simmons' greatest moment of brilliance or Sarge's greatest moment of dumb fucking luck.
Simmons sounded good. I guess he's got everything under control.
Donut and Lopez are dead and someone is taking Simmons prisoner.
What? Everything sounded fine to me.
Think about it. How do you answer the radio at our base?
Thank you for calling Red Base. This is Private Grif. How may I assist you today?
And we've drilled that since day one. Simmons answered hi. That was my first clue.
So maybe he's just
He also said the radio is in disrepair. When has Lopez ever let something go without the proper maintenance?
Never.
And look at the time.
Can't. Clock's broken.
It's 17:30. And everybody knows that 17:30 is...
Donut's daily wine and cheese hour.
I didn't hear any tinkling glasses. Did you?
You're right.
He also mentioned that the weather was rainier. And as we all know, Mount Rainier is the biggest landmass in the state of... Washington.
We do? We do.
How many Washingtons do we know?
Did he mean Agent Washington?
And who's the biggest mast we know associated with Washington?
The Meta.
You fucking son of a bitch! You totally read ahead in the script! Sarge and Grif head back to Valhalla to rescue Simmons, followed about a distance by Church, who thinks his vision might be connected to the Valhalla bases. When they get there, Sarge wanders in like a dumbass by himself, but it's actually part of a surprisingly clever ruse to draw Washington out. And then...
Son, you can insult me. You can ambush me. You can even take away my weapons. But if you think I'm gonna sit one single pinky toe inside a blue base without my shotgun, you must not know who you're dealing with.
I said move.
And I said, shotgun.
Yes. I have your shotgun.
No, I mean, shotgun.
What is this? You think I'm gonna give you your shotgun because you asked?
I said, shotgun. Shotgun, damn it.
Oh, yeah, shotgun. That's what...
the fuck is that?
Wait. What are you up to? What is that noise? Do I hear a... My bumper taser, asshole! Uh-oh.
See? Told you I'd get it back.
How about next time we use a code word, we choose something you don't say every 5 seconds?
Just drive, nuts. Agent Wash?
Son of a bitch.
You just got... Ah, damn it, I messed up the one-liner.
Holy shit! What follows took everyone completely by surprise. Our first fully animated scene, with Grif and Sarge bringing the vehicular violence on Washington. When this first happened, our jaws hit the floor and left a dent there. Seeing these characters move outside of the restrictions of the typical Halo mechanics was the selling point to let us know that this was for keeps. In one sequence of events, Red vs. Blue would once again redefine machinima and take Rooster Teeth into a whole new era of its productions. And thus began the Rooster Teeth career of Monty Ohm, an animator and choreographer already well known on the internet for his works Haloid and Dead Fantasy. Having joined the company towards the end of Recreation, Monty would push Red vs. Blue into the next era, blending in the most jaw-dropping fight scenes ever seen in a Halo machinima. It was his work over the course of the next 3 seasons that would eventually lead to him creating his own show, RWBY. When you think about Rooster Teeth as it exists today, a very large part of that success was because of Monty's work and vision. Sadly, as I'm sure most of you are aware, Monty passed away this past February due to a severe allergic reaction, but it's hard to imagine that he will be forgotten anytime soon, not with an impact as large as the one he's made. And that's a very comforting thought. Animation continues in a concurrent scene with Simmons and Doc try to escape the meta with an improvised energy weapon, and there's 3 words you don't want to hear together in regards to the Reds, overloading Wyoming's time manipulator.
See? That's what you get for arguing with science, stupid bitch.
Simmons can't get Doc out of the wall and makes it to the Warthog just as the meta gets back to full speed and wrecks their shit. They are only saved as Church catches up to them and distracts the meta long enough for Red Team to reach the breach they made earlier, and then...
Get them, Meta! Get them!
Washington!
What? No!
Oh boy, that can't be good. Remember, Epsilon was Washington's AI and had a severe freakout while he was in Washington's head, basically committing suicide. There's history there, and not a very good one. The Reds grab Church and hightail it back to Sandtrap, where the aliens are pissed off about Church leaving and are trying to lynch Caboose. When Church wakes up, the team is greeted not by Church, but by Delta. Apparently, as the memory fragment, Epsilon contains memory versions of the other fragments as well. All of them. Keep that in mind. Delta warns them that seeing Washington unlocks some of Epsilon's memories, and that he's searching for one memory in particular, and he might not like what he finds. Church wakes back up and recruits Caboose for a mission, with the Reds tailing them and Tucker tailing them, which means this time Caboose is at the front of the train of... Oh, fuck it. Church and Caboose reach their destination, a Project Freelancer bunker run by an AI named FILSS, who has the same voice as Sheila the tank from Blood Gulch. The 2 programs are definitely related as both are sourced from Freelancer. Sheila was kind of a more limited version of Phyllis who didn't have all the details. But hey, they sound the same, so most everyone starts calling her Sheila from here on out anyway. Phyllis mistakes Epsilon Church for director Leonard Church, the head of Project Freelancer, who we heard but never saw in Reconstruction. While we, the audience, learned that Alpha Church was an AI based on the director from the end of Season 6 monologue, this is the first time it's referred to in character. Church just kind of rolls with it, either playing along to get inside or that fact that just happened to be one of the memories he unlocked. Caboose is too dumb to understand or care. The others... well, I guess it gets explained to them off-screen at some point because it's just kind of something they all know about it later down the line. Phyllis lets them into the bunker where they find, among other things, an army of spare Church bodies and a suspicious cryo chamber. At Sandtrap, Wash's party makes several discoveries in no particular order. Aliens who won't tell them where the Reds and Blues went.
What does it say? What does it say? It says peace talks have broken down. Now we do it our way. Whoa!
The empty Epsilon unit, which they can modify into a capture device, basically a Pokeball for AIs. And lastly, a manly helmet in the sand.
What the? Is that CT? That's impossible. What's she doing out here?
Aha! I knew it! I knew CT was a freelance... Wait, what?
Don't bother. She didn't get an AI, remember?
She?
Who am I? Who are you? I'm supposed to be here. You guys are accessing an area on lockdown.
Who are you? Who am I? Meanwhile, the Reds shoot Phyllis in the panel to follow the Blues inside the Freelancer bunker after failing their bluff check. Inside, they find Caboose guarding a door with a lot of racket going on behind it. He wisely leaves the situation before... Okay, I'll be completely honest, there is no real reason for this fight scene, but it's so badass, I just don't care. Tex absolutely humiliates the Reds, as well as Tucker, who just caught up with them. We're back in original animation again, and the fight choreography is simply awesome. Tex doesn't need a weapon, she is a weapon. The environment is too. Remember those teleporters from Blood Gulch? Some of them are stored here as well, and they make for some magnificent stunts.
Hold still, I can see her. She's right over there by the other... Uh-oh.
Grif, I see her.
Now you're thinking with portals.
Also, I don't think Grif can ever have kids now. Ever.
Wait! Protect me, go! What is your problem with my phone?
Fatality!
Ouch. Normally you have to go to a very dark part of the internet to see stuff like that. I can explain. The fight finally ends when Church shows up, back in baby blue in one of the spare bodies we saw earlier. Tex then beats him up with his old sphere body.
Beating him with his own body? That doesn't seem physically possible.
That's exactly what Jimmy kept screaming. This doesn't seem physically possible!
Caboose, who's been off to the side this whole time watching the fight and helping, quote-unquote, gets Phyllis to activate the armor lock.
What's happening? Caboose, what did you do to her?
Ah yes, armor lock. Another walking, talking plot hole that never fails to piss me off every single time I hear it mentioned. We're about to get to the part of the video where you guys send me angry comments, so get ready, motherfuckers, because it's going to be loud. Okay, so to explain armor lock, I have to paraphrase from the RVB wiki, and by that I mean I'm explaining this all on the spot because there is no armor lock article on the RVB wiki. Trust me, I've checked. Basically, when you come under fire, your armor can lock up and make you invulnerable to bullets, and can put you in some metaphysical state of mind. Basically the same mechanics as Halo minus the Mind Nirvana. That I can get behind. But, and here is where I have issue, when you've been seriously wounded and on the brink of death, the armor lock can, for some reason, heal the bullet wound no matter how dire, and bring you back from the brink of death, or apparently back from death entirely. It's the believed reason why Sarge was able to survive a high-caliber sniper bullet to the head. And yes, before you ask, I'm still miffed about that one. Seriously, where the fuck did the bullet go? I won't get so much into the science side of it because, well, I'm no expert, but here's my question. If armor lock is this magical thing that all suits have installed into them, why didn't York have it? Or North, or South, or CT, or one of the million Wyoming clones? Now, you can argue that it's only for red and blue armor. Well, one, we clearly see Tex affected by the armor lock, and she's not a red or blue. And two, that wouldn't explain the large pile of red and blue corpses we've seen throughout this journey thus far.
We must protect his house! We must protect his house!
Not including them, they don't count. And if you're going to tell me that of all the soldiers in this army, this one ragtag team of idiots were the only soldiers to have armor lock implemented into their suits, well, smartass, I just don't believe you. This whole armor lock thing just bugs the shit out of me because it's one of those things I'm supposed to just accept without question. And I don't see why I'm supposed to do that. And you can argue, well, it's a comedy, it's science fiction, it makes sense. Fuck you! No, fuck you, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. You can't just pull this kind of shit. It's not just comedy anymore. You asked me to start taking you seriously when you started changing the rules, so I'm gonna take you fucking seriously. The worst offense is yet to come, but just remember this for later and just how irritated it makes me that you can just essentially bring people back from the dead. Trust me, we won't be seeing the last of this bullshit. After the lock gets lifted on the reds and blues, Church visits Tex in the Mindscape to see just why she was beating the crap out of everyone.
Last time I was in a place like this, I was trying to get out as fast as I could.
Yeah, I remember.
They just got in my way. It's not my fault they can't fight.
That is the second worst excuse ever. Of all time. The worst excuse would be the man who stole a truck while on drugs and claimed that electricity was chasing him. But that's another story. Things calm down and everyone gets everyone else to speed on what's going on off screen. Tex, taking the initiative and figuring out the next step, has Church let her into the freelancer data files, while Sarge gets Simmons to finally look into getting the blues back into the database. Wash's party finally gets a lead out of Sandtrap after an unwitting good idea to track the heat signatures from Doc. You know, they're kind of getting along now.
Yeah, one other thing. You know that Stockholm Syndrome where prisoners start to like and identify with their captors after being held hostage for long enough?
What about it?
No one has that yet.
Okay, fair enough. In the Freelancer files, Tex finds psych profiles of everyone. Everyone except Church, herself, and the director. Also, the location of Freelancer's safe house on Sidewinder, where Tex thinks the director might be in hiding. Once they're alone, Phyllis drops a little something extra on Church.
Before you leave, would you like to make a journal entry? It has been quite a while since your last update. Documentation is an important part of any scientific endeavor.
Remember, kids, the only difference between screwing around and science is writing it down.
After an argument from the Reds and Tucker about why the rest of them should give a crap about Tex and Church's whole journey of self-discovery thing, Church and Tex leave for the safe house alone. At Sidewinder, Tex tells Church the story of the Freelancer break-in with greater details, such as that she was the one leading the operation.
It drove him mad. Broke him down even more.
But you came back. You saved him.
No, I didn't. It was too late. By the time I got to him, he was already long gone. I don't even think he recognized me. I failed. Only in my case, it really was my fault.
Finally, Simmons manages to get into the computers and put the blues back into the database. But in doing so, comes across something alarming. But first, I need to give a message to my lovely subscribers. Now, since the beginning of this series, I have received a number of comments from you, the viewers, telling me the answers to the questions I've been posing throughout the retrospectives, all leading up to events that will happen in the future, in the pursuit of helping me understand what is going on, such as the time travel arc, the conspiracy arc, and numerous other things. And to those amazing people, I just want to say, I know. I know. In case you haven't been catching on, I've been trying to go in order the events so as to not muddle things up with things that are going to happen, and to keep a corresponding timeline for people who may be viewing for the first time, so as to not spoil things happening later down the line, and also to get viewers to think. So, just to clarify, the reason I didn't talk about it all then was because I'm going to talk about it all now. Okay? Okay. And that goes for everything that I've talked about. Unless I specifically say, help me out here, this isn't my first time watching the series. I know what happens. I'm just... You get what I'm doing here now, right? I'm not trying to be an asshole here. It doesn't have to be this way. Okay. I think we're good now. I think we're good. Let's continue. It turns out, are you sitting down, that the whole Red versus Blue war is nothing more than a simulation used to provide test scenarios to the Freelancers. Everything our heroes went through in Blood Gulch was simply one scenario that was documented for testing purposes. So that time travel thing never actually happened. The conspiracy thing, never real. The alien pregnancy, okay, that legitimately happened. But now that we know this, let's go back to those questions we asked in Season 3 and do a bit of a follow-up with them. Why was the Warthog the exact same make and model as the present-day one? Because why upgrade when you haven't gone through the present year yet? They're in the same time period, of course there's no upgrade. Why is Command exactly the same? Because it is exactly the same. Vic Jr. is Vic. He's just on the joke and playing along because it's his job. Why did they send a replacement so many years late? Of course they didn't. They probably just got word of Flowers' death very recently and stuck Sister on a ship and sent her off. Simple as that. And of course, she's dumb as a post, so she wouldn't know the difference. The weapons changing... Well, okay, that was a Halo mechanic. That had nothing to do with the story at all. But you might be asking yourself, what about Tex? She was with them almost the entire time. Wouldn't she have known about this? Wouldn't she have... But then you stop, and you think about it. And you realize, you know, Tex never actively acknowledged that they were in the future. Not directly. I mean, there was that one line in Season 5, but that was more of a deflection than an actual answer. But it's not just her either. Omega never acknowledges the future shift either. And trust me, he's exactly the kind of asshole who would point that out and take advantage of it. And neither does Wyoming, and that's probably the most interesting one because Wyoming had the time warp enhancement. The only one from the Freelancer side that acknowledges time travel is Gamma, and he's a lying piece of shit. Oi, hey, watch your fucking mouth. So is the fact that none of the Freelancers in the first 5 seasons ever acknowledged time travel in itself a plot point even then? Or was it just some convenient thread that the writers pulled together when they realized it worked? Good question. The answer is yes. Faced with the revelation that his entire military career is a sham, Sarge quits and builds a hobo fort. Well, of course. Oh dear, that's going to have negative ramifications. With Wash getting Epsilon's recovery beacon, Tex has called them right to her. We are on the road to the final showdown. Caboose also gets the beacon back at the base and pleads with the others to help rescue them. And then, the time has come. All rise for a magnificent and heartfelt speech from Sarge.
Maybe you're all here because this is the only place you fit in. Maybe you're here because you don't have anywhere else to go. Maybe you're all here because deep down, you want to be here. The reason doesn't matter. What matters is that you're here. For all we know, Tex and Church are dead. That means we're the only ones who know what's happened. The only ones who can prevent them from covering it up. So the way I figure it, these freelancer guys want to use us, take us away from our families, and send us all over the dadgum galaxy just to test if their agents are ready for the big fight? Well, I guess I'm interested in showing them exactly what a big fight is all about. Time to clean the slate. So I'm not ordering you to go. I ain't even asking. You do what you gotta do, Private Grif.
Here now is as good a time as any to talk about Sarge. Now, by now, I'm sure it's no secret to any of you that Sarge is my least favorite character in the show. And I have gotten a fair amount of flack from you guys from it. But in my defense, or really in his defense, it's not really Sarge's fault. I've just never really been a fan of that kind of character. You know, the crazy, you know, gung-ho character that really exists only to screw up everybody's plans, you know? I've never liked that. It always angered me, even as a kid watching cartoons. It's like when I was watching Cat Dog, and I was always so pissed off at Dog for ruining everyone's plans. And how many times can SpongeBob kill Squidward's day before you just want to take a hammer to that spongy fucking face? But this is the moment where I really start to respect Sarge as a character. Because if there's one thing you can say about him, he is brave, or stupid, depending on your view, but like a real leader, he will be the first one into combat when needed. Here he's accepting that the war was a sham, but there's still danger to be faced, and he's willing to put aside his hatreds of the Blues to do what's right. So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all the Sarge fans that have been angry at me over the course of this retrospective, and I hope we kind of understand each other a little better now. It's not Sarge, it's just the character that he is. And, you know, we've had our misunderstandings, but I do kind of get behind him in this one instance. Wash, Meta, and Doc arrive at Sidewinder only to have their Warthog destroyed by a landmine trap set by Tex, and the battle begins. Oddly enough, I never hear anyone talk about this scene, despite the fact that it's probably the most crucial fight of the entire season. You have Agent Texas, who has been on the run from Freelancer for as long as we can remember, against Agent Washington and the Meta, essentially the last three Freelancers left on the playing field. The chips are on the table and everything is on the line. There's no cutesy ending to this one. This fight is for keeps. Wash and the Meta, having reformatted the Epsilon unit into an AI capture device, are trying to capture Tex inside it, since she's clearly much more of a threat than Church while inside an armor suit. As the ice shelf collapses, Wash seems about to fall to his death.
You've got to be kidding me.
That was the second worst throw ever. Of all time.
What do you want from me? I ran track in high school.
Tex is eventually captured in one of the most horrifying scenes we have ever seen in this show and reverted to AI form. And the Meta has been in withdrawal for a very long time.
I knew you would do this, Meta. I just can't believe.
Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Back to full power, the Meta proceeds to pummel Washington to near oblivion. But the Reds and Blues crash in to save the day. Literally. With the Meta taken out, Church demands Tex be released, but Wash says it's impossible until Church resolves to go into the memory unit and get her out. Wash refuses as his pardon is on the line, but Church reveals just how much of his memory as the director has resurfaced. It turns out that Tex wasn't created like the other AI were, but instead the director's memories of Allison were so strong that they became their own person, which explains why Tex was never in AI form like the others were. But because the only memory of her is of her death, it resulted in Tex becoming Alpha's failure, so that no matter how close she is to her goal, she will always fail. And it kind of puts things into perspective when you go back to the very beginning and see just how many times Tex almost came out on top, but was fouled up by just one little thing. It really kind of just puts her entire character into perspective for you there. All those mishaps, they were all intentional. It was always her destiny.
Can you imagine what that's like?
I think I'm getting the idea.
With Wash and Church immediately taken out of the fight, for what may very well be the first time, we have our other red and blue heroes rush headfirst into danger, guns a-blazing. I love this fight so much because it's very much the Reds and Blues, the same bumbling, stumbling idiots we've always known. They don't fight with the grace of Tex and Washington or the brute strength of the meta. They fight like preschoolers, and as inefficient as it is, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Come here, you big son of a bitch!
What's he doing?
Looks like he's killing himself.
Oh no!
Hey, Meta! Settle a bet, would you? Does that thing kind of look like a big cat to you?
Come on, pushing!
Due to Sarge and Grif's quick thinking, the meta is finally felled for good, but unfortunately, Grif falls over with him.
Oh, for God's sake, just look over the damn edge! I can't hold on for much longer!
Or not.
Dagnabbit, I hate cliffhangers!
Oh, just pick me up!
With time running out and the memory unit about to fail, Church makes his choice.
But what if you don't come out again?
Well, you know what Delta always said, right?
Memory's the key.
If I don't come back, then you're in charge of remembering me, okay? Don't let Tucker help. He'll just fuck it up. Bye, buddy.
Oh no! What? What? It's only going to be open for a few more seconds. After that, he'll be trapped.
Come on, Church. You can do it. Can you hear me? You can...
Right towards my voice!
It's shutting down. I can't stop it.
Church? Are you there?
Caboose, I'm sorry.
Church?
There's really nothing to say here. The scene speaks for itself. Sometime later, the real army arrives to clean everything up, and it is revealed that, sadly, Washington was among those killed in action.
Well, be sure to let him know we're sorry.
Wash, dude, you look so goofy in blue armor. And that's that. Wash is accepted into Blue Team, and the two teams return to their lives. But we get one last scene with Church in the memory unit, where he gives my favorite ending monologue of all time. I love this scene. It's beautifully written and crafted, and in just a few short sentences manages to perfectly summarize the Recollection trilogy.
I don't know why the director did what he did. I don't know if he was trying to revive a memory from his past, or if he was just trying to get it out of his head. But I figured out something that the director didn't. It took Alpha, Delta, and all the rest to help piece it together for me, but what I've learned is that a great love is a lot like a good memory. When it's there, and you know it's there, but it's just out of your reach, it can be all that you think about. You can focus on it and try to force it, but the more you do, the more you seem to push it away. But if you're patient, and you hold still, well maybe, just maybe, it'll come to you. I just need to make sure I'm somewhere that she can find me. I think this place is a little different than it was before. See, out there, everything is based on the Alpha. But in here, well, I guess I'm the Alpha. And maybe this time through, things will be a little different for me as well. I guess I'll find out. And I mean, hell, if you have to live the rest of your life in a memory, you might as well make it a good one.
And if you really needed something to remember Montione by, you might as well make it this one. Overall, Revelation was a brilliant ending to one chapter and an excellent beginning to another. The introduction of Monty Ohm and what he brought to the project pushed Red vs. Blue to heights that no one would have ever imagined it could go. The fight choreography added a level of suspense that merely talking could not make. The title Revelation is very well suited for this chapter, as we finally reveal what is essentially the purpose of these characters in this story. From here, the story can only appear to get better and better.
Yeah! Almost got you that time, sluts! Reload, Simmons! Alright, let's put the next one right up their ass!
Okay, sure, but you don't need to say it like that. I think the weapon is equally as effective no matter where it hits them.